Howdy ho ho, my good humans. How the hell are you doing? This is Unnecessary Rambling. I'm Brandon Sylvia. Appreciate you for tuning in, for stopping by. I'm joined here with Loon again in the building. We're going to be doing some ranking of the Summer Game Fest, the not E3 season. Got a big old tier list of a lot of the heavy hitter games that were either revealed or re-revealed or updated or got more in-depth information on. We shall be ranking those here today. How you feeling, Loon?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what ones made the cut. There's so many games were shown over the course of all these showcases. Oh boy.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and we'll get straight into this thing. And we already discussed a lot of these games at length here on the channel. So we're really not gonna this isn't gonna be a video where we dive into the details of each specific game. We're just gonna be more feeling the reading the yep, once again, an analogy I cannot come up with. We're
We
gonna
won't
be
be spending an hour talking about Dragon Age Veilguard like we
go
just did.
absolutely go and check out our podcast where we literally previewed the game and talked about every detail that was out there in the open, and we spent an hour going over that. So check out that, and then also the showcase reviews, the Summer Game Fest, the PlayStation State of Play, the Xbox showcase. Go check out all those for more of a deep dive. We're really right now we're trying to get to the heart of our own opinion here and trying to feel after these reveals, how are we feeling? What is our personal hype level for these games? S is the top of the top. Our hype level is 9.4 on a scale of 0 to 10. Our hype is at the tippy damn top, and then all the way down to D where it's the lowest of the low. So what I also want to do, Loon, is when we get to our personal, like, you know most anticipated game, I'm going to put those two at the very top. Your personal most anticipated and my personal most anticipated out of the entire list. Sound good to you?
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. And so I don't really have these in any order. Well, actually, it is kind of in order, I think, from like State of Play is first, and then it goes into Summer Game Fest, and then Xbox to close off. Uh,
Yeah.
but that was just kind of how the shows were aligned. Anywho, Monster Hunter Wilds. So this is, I would say, really where we got our first gameplay reveal. We saw that little bit of look at the Game Awards, a little bit of gameplay in there, but not much at all. It really felt like this was a substantial chunk of gameplay first at the State of Play and then followed up at Summer Game Fest. Where would you put your personal hype level for Monster Hunter Wilds?
So you've never played a Monster Hunter game, right?
Nope, never. This will be my first one.
So my first one was Monster Hunter World, and it took a few attempts to get into. It's such a weird series because on the surface, it seems so much more complex than what it is. And then the systems underneath that are a lot more simplified when you understand like what the hell is actually going on. But I finished Monster Hunter World. I've not beaten Rise yet, but this looked really strong.
Yeah,
Um, it probably will end up being stronger than World, which I would either rate a B or an A for me. So
I would definitely put it in the A tier for me. I just thought the combat looked
yeah,
so fucking sick. I thought the environmental interaction looked so good. I thought the monsters fighting one another was so fucking nasty. Like, it just looks like a video game ass video game. And after Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm so hot on this style of combat. And even if it has a dog shit story like Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm fine with just dabbling around with the crazy ass combat. You good with A?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Astro Bot. So I'll start off here. I don't really care about Astrobot whatsoever.
Neither do
And
I. But
but
we have to appreciate it for what it is, though.
well, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
After that state of play, I would have ranked this above Monster Hunter for me personally. Just in terms of what we saw, like Astrobot looked, that was one of the greatest trailers I've seen this entire summer period. It was an incredible trailer. I'm a 3D platformer fan to some degree. I'm not a massive 3D platformer fan, but this looks about as high quality, as great of a 3D platformer as I've seen in a long time. Like this I would put this in the same tier as Monster Hunter Wilds, and we don't have to rank them individually. But like I'm not going to say above or below Monster Hunter or anything like that, unless you want to. But I would put it in the A tier for me. Where would you be?
So for me, it offers zero appeal on a personal level, but it's the type of thing that I appreciate it existing and looking at it like objectively, it looks really strong. And for those that I know it's going to try and target and be for, it's absolutely an A.
Okay, we'll run that up in the A. Then we go on to Concord. So for me, this is my first D of the list. Um, I I could maybe see someone putting it in the C tier. I wouldn't begrudge that idea too much. I think the gameplay looks as formulaic as any game I've ever seen in the, you know, fucking hero shooter genre. The cinematics, the story, the characters all look compelling, but I don't know who is playing that style of game and really looking for that. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a fan of that genre, but if this was a single player first person
Yeah,
shooter, it'd be up there with the Monster Hunter and them.
it was really weird. I think they've kind of looked over at the success of Helldivers because they said a phrase of log in every week, I think they said, for
Mm,
a new like story cinematic. And it's like the people that are going to be logging in weekly, that's not what they're going to be logging in for. 99% of them. They're either going to bounce off it or they're not, you know, they're just going to be there regardless. They're probably going to skip the cutscene. In all honesty, they just want to going to get to the gameplay.
exactly.
So yeah, this did nothing for me. This is a D.
Yeah, I'm with you. D for sure. Now we have a really interesting one, Silent Hill 2, because we have the Konami live stream, the Silent Hill transmission, I believe they called it, where this looked really good in my opinion. And then we have the state of play trailer that was abysmal.
That's a
So,
trend, isn't it? The big platform holders get a hold
right.
of something and then they get the shit scraps.
That is so funny. That is really, really fucking true with Dragon
It's
Age with
Dragon Age.
Xbox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's hilarious.
I personally think I would be at a B for Silent Hill 2. I think the gameplay at the transmission was excellent. I loved James pulling out the map and marking down in real time, different significant locations. I thought the dodge looked good. I thought the atmosphere, whenever they were really able to slow roll it out and be able to like breathe in that atmosphere for a little bit, I thought that it had that marking of a Silent Hill game. It seems like Bluebird's trying their fucking damnedest with this thing, even if Konami's throwing up some roadblocks for them to get it to be what it initially was in this remade package. But I would say a B after that 15-minute showing. And then also, it would probably take it from A to a B because of the state of play and some of the character models and shit. But yeah, I would say a B for me.
I've been pretty harsh on it with my thoughts, but I think it would end up landing in the B as well. D is there's no way it goes in there. C, it
No,
seems way too harsh to
I
judge it
could,
that
I could, I could,
much.
I could maybe go C.
I don't know. I think that's with S being obviously like the best, and then A being great. I feel like this lands in the good category. I think it has the absolute perfect amount of potential to become a good game.
Right.
So I think
Yeah,
that's fair.
that's a good way of looking at that. Dynasty Warriors Origins. That's the name, right? Dynasty Warriors, or yeah, Dynasty Warriors
Yeah.
Origins. I'm not a Muso. This isn't my genre. I played them as a kid, PS2 Dynasty Warriors games. Um, I, this does nothing for me at all, but I do like the idea of utilizing this current gen technology to really be able to have like this over the top amount of characters on the screen at one time and then sort of the much better flow with being
Yeah.
able to utilize this generation of technology. Um, what do you think about Dynasty Warriors Origins?
So I've played a few Muso games. I've never beaten them, and like I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. I fit you. It can't go anywhere but C
I
because
think
of the
C's
way
perfect.
the game is. Like you know exactly what you're going to expect from that game. It's either going to be in a disastrous state, like whatever that the latest one was that they did, which bombed, or it's just going to be like everything else. I don't think there's enough wiggle room in that kind of genre to do much other than that.
Perfect. I could not agree more. I was gonna think like no way it's the same as Concord. It just I mean it just looks much more interesting than Concord, and I wouldn't put it on the same tier as Silent Hill. So I think C is perfect. Where Winds Meet. Now this is that game that it just kind of looked like a boss rush when it was shown off at the State of Play. But I remember seeing it like Summer Games Fest or Gamescom 2022, 2021, and it was this awesome looking open world kind of Ghost of Tsushima sort of inspired title. Um, I didn't really love what I saw at the State of Play. It looked like a lot of other games that we have seen pretty constantly as of late. Um, but I do think it's of a high production quality. Like it's a good looking game. It looks like it has a solid budget to it. The combat looks fine.
Yep.
Um, we've just seen so many of these, and actually, we can get right into Ballad of Antara as well. Those two, uh,
Yeah, very similar.
very
It,
similar in the same show.
yeah. Again, maybe harsh. I think these land in the C tier for the sheer factor of the amount of saturation of these style of games. Like if you're gonna make that kind of style of game, there needs to be something that you're doing that nobody else is doing. It it doesn't cut it enough to look pretty anymore or to have like good flowing combat and stuff like that. Like these feel like the types of titles that are gonna drop. They might get like a week of coverage from people and hype and happiness, and then they're just gonna be forgotten about.
Well, that's the thing that's such a bummer because when Where Winds Meet, whenever I first saw it, it looked so Ghost of Tsushima-esque. Like it looked so fun. And then this just, I don't know, it almost looked like a boss rush game, but maybe they were trying to show that, hey, this is a real game. Cause that was one of those things. That was one of those titles where you see it and a lot of people are like, that's not real. And maybe this is like, hey, look, here's the real combat. It's real time. It's all, this is real gameplay. So, whatever. But I would agree. Probably both C tier. I actually think Ballad of Antara had a better showing at the State of Play than Where Winds Meet did, but I would as well put them both in the C tier. Now, we go
S
to
tier.
Batman Arkham
Oh
Shadow, the MetaQuest
God.
3 exclusive VR title. Still, we've seen no gameplay for this whatsoever. I will say, Loon, I thought the atmosphere in this trailer at SGF was incredible. I thought the character models looked good. It's nice to know that you're going to be playing like an 8 hour, whatever, 6 to 8 hour Batman Arkham game. MetaQuest 3 exclusive is a bummer, but I don't know. I wouldn't put this in the D tier.
No, I don't think that would be very, very harsh. That would be you would be doing that purely based off of emotion of being robbed of the feeling of being robbed of a proper Batman game, to put it in D, and not wanting to budge.
I
Again, it probably slots into C.
That's where I'm with you. No gameplay.
Yeah.
Got to be C.
Um, if it does end up being an actual game, because we've seen this so many times now of like the Vader Immortal stuff, and it's just and what was the Batman, the first VR game that come out with it,
Yep.
whatever that was called,
Fuck, I'm forgetting the name, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Arkham.
where it's just an experience. It wasn't even a game. It just yeah, it was very distracting to like look at people's coverage of it and be like, this is what you're spending like a massive amount for a VR headset to do. Like, surely they should be doing a little bit more than that. So it's good to see that they're getting better experiences, but yeah, I think it'd be bad to put it in anything higher than a C.
Agreed. Do you remember Killer Bean? This is the
I
game.
did see it, yeah.
Little
It's
potato,
so bizarre.
little potato head looking character that's a spy, jumping out of cars, shooting motherfuckers, jumping out of windows on jet skis. Like, I will say, I thought this looked fucking incredible. Do I wish I was playing as anything other than this character doing these actions? Yes. but like we get so few spy games, so few games that are just honestly, so few games that are just interesting at all in
Yeah.
the action adventure space nowadays, unfortunately, that like it shot up my radar. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna keep my eye on this.
It overall would probably land in the C, but it's just different as well. So I
Yeah.
think for trying something different in a tone and art style and like the character in itself, like you said, like you wish it'd be something else, but at least it stands out. Like you line all the games up and you're like, well, that doesn't look like anything else here. So I don't know. I think I'd put that in B personally.
Yeah, I would go B as well. I think that it wouldn't be in that A tier for me, but I genuinely it doesn't look like anything else on this list, and not even just I mean literally from the mechanical standpoint of third person shooter spy game. Like I mean you have Perfect Dark, which is first person, Star Wars Outlaws, which not a spy, but still you got a couple third person shooters in. Well, Metal Gear Solid 3 and Star Wars Outlaws are the only other third person shooters. Night Springs DLC. You got a couple in here, but even just there's been such a dearth of um there's just we get so many, and I know I say this so often, but we get so many games that look so similar. And it's
Yeah.
just crazy to even think about third person shooters in general. Where like most third person action games nowadays, you're going to be wielding a sword in some fantasy setting. Like
Yep.
third person shooters are so few and far between. So shout out to Killer Bean. Civilization 7. It was just a little CG. It wasn't even a CG trailer. It was really just like a teaser trailer. Um,
Yeah. I mean, you don't play the games and the genre really. It's it showed us nothing, but it's a Civ game. Like on a personal level for me, like it'd probably go to B, but for what they showed, it's a C.
okay, I'll deal with that.
Um, it's ultimately.
Uh, I definitely throw it in the D tier, but once again, that's not fair at all. Just kind of like the same thing you said with Astro Bot earlier. It's
Yeah.
like just because it's not
It's
for
not
you.
something that appeals to you. It's not the target stuff, For me, like the amount, like I cannot express how many like just one more turn syndrome you get from this game, and that just eats hours away. You think one more turn, and then you look up at the clock, and it's been like 4 hours, and you're like, oh Christ.
Yeah. Slitterhead. I am going to be totally honest, Loon. I'm so interested in the concept, but I would throw this in the C tier as well. I just don't think what they showed looked great at all. I thought it was like the concept cool, the combat no.
Um, yeah, it's not appealing to me, if I'm being honest, when I was seeing it. But yeah, I wouldn't have argued if you wanted to put that in B, to be 100% honest, if it was that interesting.
I'll go C, man. I would struggle finding a reason to put it in B for me personally. Like conceptually, sure, but nothing that was shown in the actual game really landed for me at all. Weird, and I
Mm.
love weird, but gotta see some combat that looks a little bit better than that if it's gonna be a action-oriented game. Neva, coming from the creators of however the fuck you say that.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah.
yeah. So this is the game where it's like a 2D, similar, structure, but you got some combat in Neva, which we'll
Oh,
see.
sorely needed. I know Gris got a lot of like love and awards thrown its way. I couldn't get past like the hour mark. It's so tedious. Like the art style's nice and stuff like that, but it's just it just didn't feel good to play. So if
Yeah.
it has combat, I personally, for me on a personal, like it'd probably be a C. But that's because I have that in the back of my mind of knowing that they made Gris. I had like a fairly negative experience with that, being bored out of my mind.
I would probably go B just because I think the actual trailer is really good for Neva, but I'd be willing. I'll throw it in the C. We then move on into the what is this? Rita's Rewind, the Power Rangers game. This was the beat 'em up that was revealed at Summer Game Fest. I believe it's the same team that did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, right?
I
I
believe so. They're on a hot streak.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought this looked, I'm not a Power Rangers guy, but I thought it looked good from a just from a moment to moment basis. Like, you know what it's going to be immediately when you see the trailer, you have a clear understanding of what the game is, what you're going to be doing. Like, there's no wool being pulled. Like, it is 100% what this game is. So I think in terms of showing the trailer properly, I think it absolutely executed that.
Yeah, it's not something I'll play, but I'm looking at through the lens of, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game was like really well received. That Scott Pilgrim game got re-released and people seem to like it. Streets of Rage also got really good reviews. I think it probably slots into B, probably.
Yeah, I think B is right. Because, like,
I don't think it does as much as an Astro Bot for what it
no.
wants to target in its audience, but if you liked Power Rangers back in the day as a kid, I'm sure that'll get some nostalgia going.
Well, and it's like all these trailers here in the sea, all these games in the sea, we had complaints for something in their trailer. Really
Yeah.
not a lot to complain about at all with Power Rangers. Like, that's a solid B game. Night Springs, the DLC. Now, how do you want to do this, Loon? Because if we're doing the announcement of the physical release as well as the DLC, that brings it up way higher. If we're just doing the DLC reveal, like, I couldn't really care less. So, how do you want
Oh, are
to?
you not? That's actually. Are you not going to touch the DLC?
Oh, I mean, I probably will. It'll be on the disc, so I'll
Okay.
play it at some point probably. I mean, I'm not dying to whatsoever. I don't know much about it though either because I've been avoiding anything to do with the
Yeah.
DLC that way
Same
because
with
I don't.
me.
Yeah.
Did you not do the Control DLCs in the Ultimate Edition?
No, I'm not a big DLC guy at all.
Oh, fair enough.
If it's like
Um.
one of my favorite games, like I'll get picked on for this, but Starfield later this year, I'll definitely dive into that DLC. Horizon last year, I dove into that DLC. Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, Witcher. Like, I'll play the top tier, but
Hmm.
I know Remedy does have some great DLC, so I need to check some of that stuff out.
Um. If they, you know what, I'm gonna take the opportunity to make sure that they still get a little bit of criticism for it. If they would have handled the announcement of the physical a little bit better and not making it seem like it was limited run only for a little bit,
Yeah,
they should have been way more. I think this drops down to a B for me,
yeah.
and it's also a safety B because I've not actually played Alan Wake 2, so I have no expectation for it as well. It's just like when it comes out, I'm sure I'll play it and stuff and I'll enjoy it. But for right this moment in time, it's I'm very indifferent at the moment to it.
So we got that Blumhouse announcement here. Now, I really don't know how to do this because they announced 6 games all back to back. I think more of the reveal was actually the Blumhouse
Yeah,
name.
them entering the space.
Yeah. So what do you feel about the Blumhouse reveal overall? And you can kind of, if you want to pull it a certain game, you can. If you want to just focus on Blumhouse entering the game space with their showing, with their 6 games on offer, what do you think about that?
I think it's probably a little bit too early to judge them too harshly. We don't know just what their plans are fully. They have a lot of IP over there. Um, so it probably skirts between C and B for me.
C and B or C and D?
C and B. I don't think it
Okay.
it would be so unfair to judge it on a D for some of the less stellar stuff that they showed.
I'll throw it on B because I do think for one, it's exciting to have somebody that has some pockets funding independent horror games. I think the choice of going out and grabbing Sam Barlow for a game is intelligent. I think that the PS1 inspired horror game looks really good. The first person shooter horror game looks really good. Um, I think they had some good stuff in that showing. There were a few of those games where I'm like, that looks like something I've played 100 times, but the idea alone, I think, would put it into the B tier where it's like, hey, y'all go out. We're gonna find some really unique independent horror games. We're gonna fund this shit, and we're gonna make sure that creators can have unique ideas still out there in the horror space for the player. You good with a B?
Yep.
Cool. Now, this is where you and I might get ripped apart by the internet. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Loon, I will tell you now, this is absolutely S tier for me. Like, not even a shadow of a doubt. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna if they didn't show that extra bit of gameplay,
Oh, yeah,
if they
D.
wouldn't have done that, I would have had to be in conceded, and I wouldn't have put it in D. I would have been like, it's a C. Um, I it's an A for me.
Okay. Okay.
Like I
Well,
love Dragon Age, but it's the type of thing where it's like I want to be positively cautious, if that makes sense.
so I genuinely don't know in terms of my most anticipated. Like, I haven't went through that. I haven't went through the whole list to figure out which of these games would be my most anticipated. So what we'll
Mine just
do,
clicked like that. I can say.
I don't say it yet. Don't say it yet.
No, I won't. I can say like when I was looking over the list because I'd forgotten some of these titles and I was like, nope, that is it. That is I want that. If I could snap my fingers and have that thing straight away, I would have it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the way to look at it for sure. Is like if you could play one of these games, which would you pick? So I'm gonna put Dragon Age the Veilguard in the A tier for now. But once again, remember, we're gonna pick out our two most anticipated individually. You're gonna pick out your most anticipated, I'm gonna pick out my most anticipated, and then we'll plop those at the very tip top of the S tier. So Veilguard might end up being that for me. I don't know yet. Skate 4, for me, this is without a doubt D tier. That trailer was dog shit. The office sort of intro lead in, and then you got, hey, beta playtest coming to console soon. We still haven't showed you fucking anything at all. It's gonna be a free to play servicey. Yeah, vomit, man, vomit, vomit. For me, that's D tier. What about you?
I really didn't like the first two Skate games and played like a fairly decent chunk of Skate 3, but I don't know, it just feels weird to play a skating game as well in 2025. I don't know if you align with that view. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it has as much relevance as what it should have released like probably about 4 or 5 years ago, this game.
Oh man, I don't know. Like anytime I see skateboarding in a game, I get so fucking hyped. Like Roller Drome or well, that wasn't skateboarding, but um
Like the Tony Hawk games where they're a little bit more arcadey, I can dig that a little bit more, but these more trying to take it seriously. I don't
yeah.
know. And the
I
live service elements can go to hell as well. The free to play crap,
as
no
soon as
interest.
as soon as I see free to play, and then maybe this is a character issue that I need to work on, but I immediately think low quality. So I don't know. I'm throwing I would throw Skate 4, the whatever they're gonna call it, in the D tier. What about you?
Yeah,
I thought that trailer was dog
Concord
shit.
looks better than that.
Yeah, agreed. At least we've seen something of Concord. Next up, we have Phantom Blade Zero. Um, I think this was a really, really good trailer. I still think the reveal trailer at the PlayStation Showcase shits on the one we got recently. I think that PlayStation Showcase trailer was like all time, like, you know, A tier, S tier, great trailers of all time. It was crazy to the point where we talked earlier. People didn't believe that any of that shit was really happening in the game. It was so wild.
Yeah,
Um, but this trailer was just like, seeing some combat. It looked good. The animations were very, very smooth. It looked great, even. But I would say probably B tier for me for Phantom Blade Zero.
I'd be a little bit more harsh personally. I'd say C is where I'd
Hmm.
go. It fits in the Antara thing of just feeling a little bit too similar. But this is the thing of like me looking at so many of these titles and them having such similar designs and core cons and just it falls prey to the oversaturation of the market. But
Yeah.
I'd concede allowing it's going to be. I wouldn't
I
have a
Yeah, it does look very similar to Where Winds Meet and
my
Ballad of
question I'd
Antara.
pose then is of them three, which one looked the strongest?
Phantom Blade Zero by a mile.
then that can go into B. Otherwise, I would have said move one of them up to B
Okay.
in its stead.
Horizon Adventures, the Lego Horizon game. Now, this is the tough part again, Loon, where like you and I might not be the most interested in this, but in terms of a trailer, in terms of a gameplay trailer, in terms of showing off what the game is going to be, not trying to pull a bait and switch, not trying to pull the wool, like this is a good video game trailer, but it's a Lego game trailer. And I don't have a ton of interest in Lego games. Although I will say the Skywalker Lego game that came out last 2022, I loved that shit. I not loved it. I thought it was good though.
You can never go wrong. I'll this will probably be where I take my flag. It's an A. It's a Lego. It's
Ooh.
a Lego game. Like they never really miss. It's to me when I saw that they were doing it, it was like, what on earth are you doing making a Horizon Lego game? That's like extremely weird. But for Lego fans, like that's got to be perfect, right? Like Horizon's a red hot IP. Playing an entire game in Lego with it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be something I'm going to be dipping into, but that's actually a thing I didn't even think about. Is this going to be the first exclusive Lego game?
No, it's coming to Switch.
Oh my God. I didn't
Is
know
that
that.
not crazy?
That's mad. Man, they know
Man,
their target audience.
not Xbox, but coming to Switch. That is like PlayStation or some weird motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, that seems like they could have used that as like a way of shushing people. And then being
Yeah,
like, no, we do put some games on other platforms, you know.
the Lego game.
They get the scraps.
I'll leave you. I'll give you an A on it. Nah, A Astro Bot and Lego Horizon in the same tier. Do you think so?
I think for the Lego fans, that was a massive W for them.
Yeah. Was a really really good trailer. Now that's the thing. How much are we weighing our personal hype versus? I guess it's all. We're just trying to rank everything all in together. Like it's impossible to really separate the two
Yeah,
in some way.
because otherwise they'd be putting Astro Bot at D, and because
Right.
it's not some. If it was like me basing my opinions on it, it would be stuff I wouldn't touch, and I think that would
Yeah.
be very, very unfair.
And then yeah, when it's two people, when it's you and I doing this, you do have to kind of factor in the quality of the trailer as well. Because like I would have Astrobot higher, I would have Lego way lower. Like you know what I mean?
Just
So
out of
yeah,
curiosity, where would you land with it?
I would put Lego in the C tier for no B
Damn.
tier, B tier, B tier, B tier. My bad, B tier. It's that same level of Power Rangers to me, where it's like I don't know if I'll play it, but like objectively, it looks good and it showed you exactly what the game is. You don't have any sort of false pretense.
Uh, we'll move it down to B.
I mean, I'm fine with A if you personally feel that level of
I
quality
think
or
for the, I think it's more for me in the shoes of like the Lego fans, but
what
seeing it
movie.
next to Dragon Age feels a bit wrong.
I do agree. I do agree with that. That's what I was thinking when I saw these three. I was like, these three are definitively A tier in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
a high
Lego.
B.
Okay,
It's almost there.
you know what? Well, just for the sake of fun, we'll put it above Silent Hill 2. Quidditch. Now, Loon, I thought Hogwarts Legacy was amazing. I thought this trailer was rough. And not even rough in the sense of like you just didn't see anything. And the team working on it, they've never really made like a core console game as far as I'm aware. I This is a D tier reveal to me. It could be fun as fuck, but
I
no.
don't know. Even then, it's the type of thing where how would you even make this enjoyable? Its rules are so bizarre. How would you make this function to an enjoyable state? Especially because it's not. This isn't an expansion to Hogwarts Legacy, is it? This is going to be like a PvP game,
Yeah,
right?
full game, full game.
That's madness to me. That to me that falls into D. Like I'm sorry, it shouldn't. I don't think it even should exist. I'd go as far as saying it just seems like a very weird. I'll happily eat my words if this comes out and this becomes the new Rocket League,
Right.
and it's got like the most rock solid core, uh, like gameplay and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll happily be proven wrong, but it doesn't look like that'll be the case.
Yeah, but as a trailer, like it didn't even show you what the gameplay was gonna be. So it's like,
It's because
yeah.
I think they're struggling on unpacking that and like making it function in a moment-to-moment gameplay.
What about Fable? This is a weird one because I think the tone of the trailer is great. I think the environment's great. I think the character models are great. Such limited gameplay. We just didn't really get a good look at what this game is going to function like on a moment-to-moment gameplay basis.
Yeah.
I want to put
Um,
it A, but I don't know if I can.
no, there's no way that can go into A. Oh, that's really tough.
I think it slaughters everything on the B tier.
Mm, maybe.
So you want to go
I'll,
B
I'll,
tier?
yeah, I'll concede to B two. I was very, very considering C because when you show nothing on it, it's like, especially with how long it's been in development, like they should be able to show big chunks of gameplay. If Veilguard's showing chunks of gameplay and stuff like that, what on earth is going on with this Fable game? That you don't want
Especially
to show any slice of it. It's baffling.
especially with it coming out next year. It's like, so y'all are just going to show gameplay for the first time. Well, I guess, maybe they're saving for that developer direct thing that they do in January. So,
Nah, that's crazy to me. If Perfect Dark got gameplay shown, it's
right.
inexcusable that Fable has nothing.
Dude, you're right. That is a damn good point because Perfect Dark isn't coming until probably 2026 because it didn't even have a date. Fable had a 2025 date on it.
That's why I was really considering C because it feels like it's high C, don't get me wrong, it's not gonna fall beneath like the Neva game and stuff like that. But yeah.
Let's go bottom B. Just and we're not ranking these, but let's go bottom B. You good with that?
Yeah, we're selectively ranking.
It's like, yeah. Because those little glimpses of gameplay looked fucking raw, but
Yeah.
we didn't get enough to really know anything. Now, what we did get enough to know a lot about was Perfect Dark. That shit looks stellar. To me, that's bare minimum A tier.
Yep. If that's what the game release is like, that is an A. If
Yeah.
it comes out in that state and it plays like that and there's no compromises, there's no smoke and mirrors like Cyberpunk, where you suddenly remove the wall running and crap like that, and that
Right.
isn't in the final product. This all stays completely intact. That is an A tier game. That is, and I'm so glad to have my foot in my mouth on the opinion of the game because I was like, why the hell are you making this game? I love it. I love being proven wrong. I love it.
Same, dude. I'm always happy. I will always, always, always eat my words if it means that we get something that I thought was going to be bad and ends up being good. I'll happily be wrong about that. 100 times out of 100. Pride be damned. I want to play good games.
Hmm.
Expedition 33. This looked sick as shit. The turn-based, like super realistic turn-based game, which is, I mean, an anomaly. A realistic, visually stunning character models that look amazing, like real humans, and it's turn-based. Like this looks fucking great. What rank are you thinking?
Yeah, it's perfect. Like you said, an anomaly, so it goes into A, matching the description.
Yeah,
I'm
I,
so hot on that. I really want that. It looks so good, so damn good.
agreed, dude. Life is Strange. What is it? Double exposure, something exposure, double exposure. So, where are you thinking Life is Strange double exposure shall go?
Mm. I don't have like the strongest opinion on the series as a whole.
Not a fan.
The writing is just so weird to me. It doesn't land. It's it's like okay, sure. It's very
I'd be
weird. I much prefer because they're the same developer as Vampire, right?
Don't Nod. No, this is being made by Deck Nine. Don't
Okay.
Nod started Life is Strange 1 and 2 or 1. Like Don't Nod was at least Life is Strange 1 and then Deck
Yeah.
9 took over for a lot of the later ones.
Okay. Um. Well, maybe the writing might be a little bit different.
I would be
For the
fine with C.
fans, for the fans, I think because it's also reoccurring characters and picking that story back up from what it appears, and I'm definitely in the outline. A lot of people were red hot on that first season. I think it probably even falls into B, to be honest, for a lot
Okay,
of people.
cool. B is fine with me. I don't know enough about it to really even have an opinion. Metal Gear Solid uh, 3, the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. This was the first time we saw like real concrete gameplay, and I think it looks so much better than I was ever expecting. I don't know if I would. Yeah, yeah. What am I saying? I would probably go A tier on this. I'd probably go A tier on
Yeah,
this. Yeah,
looks crisp.
yeah. Looks damn good. No release date yet. I do think that kind of knocks it down a little bit, but first look at gameplay. Switching between the classic mode, the modern mode, the piss filter is there if you need it. Like they they got a lot going on there. It looks really good. Doom: The Dark Ages. Well, what rank are you slotting Doom:
it,
The Dark
it
Ages in a?
it can't go in anything but A. They just don't miss. These new id Doom games just don't miss.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what on earth, like the Bethesda game studios need to like get whatever lunch they got going over at id or Machine Games, because whatever they feed them, they've got creative juices over there, and the quality that they put out, it's absolutely insane. Can't wait for this.
Let me ask you this. We are we have nothing in that S tier. Is there anything in this A tier? I mean, you don't have to. No, granted, like I'm not. If you don't think there's an S tier game yet, then we don't need to make an S tier game yet. But
Um,
is there anything out of this A tier that separates itself from the pack?
I think, do you know what would make it interesting?
What's
Is
that?
fill out the A tier and then filter out to S tier,
Okay. Okay.
if that
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense. Like a quick run over and be like, I think this pushes it a little bit. When you have all what we feel like would fit into A tier, and then you're like, that definitely edges it.
Perfect. Perfect. Yep. I get that. South
And I
of
think
Midnight.
what would be interesting is it limited to free as well for the S tier. Gold,
Oh,
silver,
okay.
bronze kind of thing, like top three.
Perfect. 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 Um, South of Midnight. I think this is A tier. Genuinely, in terms of showed a bunch of gameplay, showed a boss fight, showed exploration, showed climbing, showed, all these different methods of traversal, showed great dialogue. I love the stop motion animation for the cutscenes and how it blends into real-time gameplay that's like 60 frames. And I really dug this trailer a lot.
Yeah, it just seems to be different. And that's
Very.
like the core thing. Like if it's different, it gets bumped up in a rating for me. And I think, yeah, definitely A.
And now we have Gears of War E-Day. This, here's the thing. It is just a cinematic trailer. But it's a cinematic trailer for a game that you are 100% certain you know exactly how it's going to function.
Yeah, I think this will probably. I don't think you can put it in anything but B. Like you
Ye-
just know what it's gonna be, and
Yeah.
that's not to dislike the shit on it. It's just gonna be a Gears game, man.
Yep. And they're going back to, linear corridors for the roots of Gears are coming back to E-Day seemingly. So
Hmm.
great return to form, prequel, mixtape from a developer that we both really, really enjoyed their last game, Beethoven and Dinosaur, the Artful Escape developer going out and creating this 80s nostalgic trip of a video game. Um, the music is excellent, the fantastical kind of Stranger Things vibes. Yeah, I mean this to me, I could understand maybe throwing it to the B tier, but definitely A or B.
Um, this goes A. I've just like looked over each of them B tier things, and with how much I enjoy the Artful Escape and how much like importance music is and stuff. Like you just know that that's just going to be such a joy to play through. Just from a pure like it doesn't matter about budget and stuff like that and scale. Like just from a pure enjoyment factor,
Yeah,
that's just going to be an A tier game.
it's gonna be straight good vibes the entire fucking game. So yeah, I I'm totally with you. State of Decay 3. This is a weird one. I don't think State of Decay 3 belongs on the B tier. I
Nope.
think I would say firmly C, like
Yep.
firmly C. Okay.
I'm so glad that I didn't have to like make an argument for it. I was like, please don't be like sucked into like the cinematic trailer. 'Cause, yeah, they had like fairly good cinematics for State of Decay 2, and don't get me wrong, State of Decay 2 is a good game, but this is two games now where it's felt like missed potential.
Yeah.
This is it. It's a make or break. Like you either land the potential of State of Decay 3, or it's an IP that you probably should just drop and focus elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, the cinematics were solid. It was cool to see just a glimpse of gameplay, but that's all we got, a glimpse of gameplay. So I think C is warranted. Black Ops. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 got its gameplay reveal trailer coming day one to Game Pass. Kind of a big announcement there. I thought it looked fun as shit. I think the 90s setting and then Clinton and Bush and like there's some interesting threads there that can be pulled upon. Obviously going into 2001 potentially with some of the rumors that we've heard. We'll see if they go there, but Black Ops 6, what are you thinking? I would be okay with C or B.
And with somebody that's played more of the modern stuff and knowing their tendencies and stuff, I'd probably say C.
Perfect.
It's don't get me wrong, they're beautiful looking games since Modern Warfare 2019 and stuff, but it's more of the same crap. Like they've not done really anything to like justify even, back in the day when like Modern Warfare originally came out, like it was getting nominated for like Game of the Year. Like that's it's been so long before you could even utter them words
Yeah.
anywhere near a Call of Duty game. Like they're just the background furniture at this point. Like
Yeah.
so yeah,
What
C for
about
me.
our two Ubisoft titles, Star Wars Outlaws? We'll start there. I think every single moment of this game that I see, every millisecond of gameplay is more and more like my hype level just raises. The
Yeah.
anticipation just increases and increases and increases. Like there hasn't been a single thing about this game where I've went, yeah, it looks great, but like other than like character models, story, I could see some of that, but like the actual game, it just looks so fun. It looks so fun. I don't know.
I
Where
mean,
you
I'll just like rip it off as well. I think both of them just go into A.
Yeah.
Personally,
I
like they're just I get it. Some people are tired of the formula of Ubisoft games and like I respect that. But it just looks fun. Like that it's just nailed it with the setting for Assassin's Creed. That's why it also gets the edge. Like feudal Japan, you can't really miss. And then Outlaws is just, it's a nice switch up from what we're used to in Star Wars for games. So they're both at least nice new settings for the repetitive Ubisoft stuff that people, don't like. But I feel, yeah, definitely A.
I do want to ask you, where would you rank those two? Outlaws ahead of Shadows, Shadows ahead of Outlaws.
I think Outlaws edges it for the sole factor that Valhalla still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So right now, I'd have more faith in Outlaws being the better game for me on a personal level.
Oh man, we're in a tough spot. I'll tell
But
you
that's
this.
that's also basing it off of, like I said, Valhalla. This is meant to be a lot more slimmed down and more, cut the fat. So I don't blame you. It's so hard to pick between the two.
Oh well, no, well, my bad. I should have led with that. Outlaws for me is
Oh,
it's not even close. I'm way more excited for
Unlucky
Outlaws than.
Shadows.
But for me, like I'm my two most anticipated games. are Star Wars Outlaws and Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Mhm.
Like by a mile, these two are my most anticipated of this list. I don't know which is first. Do you know? Okay, you said earlier that you know what your most anticipated is. What
Yeah.
is it?
What do you, just out of curiosity, what do you think it would end up being?
Either Doom, Dragon Age, or Expedition 33.
Yeah, it's Expedition.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
it's just like the perfect blend of like a JRPG formula on the budget and scale of a Western developer. Because it's
Yeah.
what we see. We see JRPGs and turn-based so many times, but they lack that polish and refinement a little bit for like every other aspect of the game. Like they get stories down and companions down and everything, but just the visuals on that look absolutely stunning. So like how can that drop? How can that miss? I mean,
Oh, dude. My most anticipated. I mean, it's so far, like, it's not even close that Dragon Age and Star Wars Outlaws are like so far and away my most anticipated among all of these A tier games. I think I think Dragon Age: The Veilguard is going to be a better game than Star Wars Outlaws. I'm going to go Dragon Age. I'm going to go Dragon Age as my most anticipated. I genuinely am. I liked some of Inquisition. I hated the open world, the fact that they're removing that, making it more traditional BioWare sort of experience. Like the action, the over the top action combat is playing perfectly to my sensibilities. Yeah, that's going to be
it,
number one for
that's
me.
hilarious though. Because you're usually trumpet sci-fi and you're like, I don't want any more fantasy.
Yeah, dude, this is
And you're like,
BioWare.
dude, Dragon Age, let's go. There's like a sci-fi fucking
It's
roguish adventure, and you're like,
it's close for me, but when we go like Dragon Age, The Witcher, and here's the thing is like I do know that's hypocritical, but th there's something so different between a Dragon Age game and a game with a character with a sword and barely any story at all in an open plane of environments that you run through, and it's just nothing but open-ended nothingness for fucking hours and hours and hours of characters you don't give a shit about, of decisions that you have you're well, for one, you're not even making decisions, and if you are, they have no consequence. Like I just trust BioWare a little bit more, and maybe there is a part of me where I'm just hoping that this is good. Like I think no, I do think it's gonna be fucking really good. I genuinely do. So I'm gonna throw that
yep,
as my most anticipated. So you said you wanted a bronze, something that we kind of both agree on here for third place.
yeah.
What are you thinking here?
Uh,
What would be on your next up on your list?
so for me personally, my top three would be Expeditions, Dragon Age, and then Metal Gear.
Oh,
But
okay.
to bridge the gap, because I know Metal Gear wouldn't be in your top three. I don't even think it would be in your top five, to be honest.
My
I
top.
think would be probably Perfect Dark for me.
Okay. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this would be my top five. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, number one. Star Wars Outlaws, number two. Perfect Dark, number three. Assassin's Creed Shadows, number four. South of Midnight, number five, I think. Do you have a top five lined up?
So Expedition 1, Dragon Age 2, Metal Gear 3, Outlaws 4.
Oh, well, if you want Outlaws, I can go Outlaws over Perfect Dark easily for the third spot.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, because I would have Outlaws over Perfect Dark for sure. We'll keep Perfect Dark in the fourth spot though.
Yeah, because come on, man, that reveal.
Yeah.
Like that at least gets an honor. That can be the honorable mention. My God, like completely out of left field.
So yours would
I
be
think I think Doom would be my fifth.
okay, there we go. So it would be Expedition, Dragon Age, Outlaws, Perfect Dark, Doom.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Or no. You had Expedition,
Expeditions, Dragon Age, Metal Gear is three for me.
right?
Outlaws is four, and
Perfect.
then it would be a coin toss between Doom and Perfect Dark.
Nice. Nice. Well, dude, hey, the Xbox show kind of saved the day a little bit there. If you look at this list, well, we'll exclude Dragon Age because that was a bad showing, but Expedition 33, Perfect Dark, Metal Gear, Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, Mixtape, Shadows, Gears of War E-Day, Fable, all Life is Strange, all Xbox.
Yeah, it was a killer showcase.
Damn solid show. But Loon, I appreciate you for spending the last hour or so ranking these arbitrary trailers. I love the summer game season though, man. I absolutely adore it. I love getting hyped for games, anticipating upcoming shit, and we got a lot of shit to anticipate. So, floor is yours, my good people. Hit us in the comments down below with what your favorite reveal was over the Summer Game Fest season. Which of these trailers would rank the top of your list? Which of these would rank at the bottom of your list, and everything in between? We appreciate you for tuning in, though, and we will catch you on the next episode. Goodbye.
See you later.